Hello there, welcome back. How are you guys? Evolutionary Energy Arts family. He got me, and I know Jenny's gonna like that.
Hello there, guys. Hope everybody's doing well today.
Indeed, we do.
So we're getting a late start trying to get something together, but it's been a long day, a productive day, and there is definitely a lot to talk about. And it's just debating: do we try to cover all this in one shot, or do we, split it up? But figured, all right, let's just cover this in one big blow.
One fell swoop.
One big blow after Tonga.
Yeah, after Tonga.
Wow. Mm-hmm. This is like a headline that we're seeing everywhere as the world wakes up to the fact that, you know what? Global plague upon the land can be very, very big financial windfalls.
Yeah, it can be very productive for certain people.
Yeah, and so the world's 10 richest men see their wealth double in just a matter of 2 years.
Now, I'm sure that they didn't know that would happen. I'm sure they're just really good people that got lucky.
Yep, and we've touched on this before. So who are we talking about? We're talking about Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bernard Arnault and family, Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Ballmer, and Warren Buffett. We could throw in the Walmart family, the
Yes.
Waltons. It's just so obvious for so many people now to see just how certain things can just consolidate wealth so quickly. And then we see this question here: how long can humans survive? We have a lot of, there's so many different forces at play. For one, from what we understand and what we have gotten from our guides and from meditation as well as observation, Homo sapiens sapiens is something that's going to be a thing of the past. There's two divergent paths that are in front of us, and it's going to be a choice for each to make. We see the family tree of humanity on this planet, and we have a lot of dead ends. There have been so many different humanoid creatures walking this planet that no longer walk it, that just abruptly ended. And so, the question is, how long can humans survive? And this is getting into the time of plenty won't last forever. It could last forever, and it could be a lot more plentiful than it has been.
Yeah, it could be a really beautiful thing if we were just simply in harmony.
But there's money to be made in disharmony.
Yes, a lot.
There's control to be utilized in disharmony. Again, we could go back to that Tower of Babel incident. If humans are united, who knows what could stop them?
According to us and our human race, nothing could stop us if we were united.
And we see a sixth mass extinction event is in progress, and it's humanity's fault, so says the study. And by the way, Elon Musk says all the species on Earth are doomed to extinction. This is one of your richest, most powerful people on the planet. All species on Earth are doomed to extinction due to the expansion of the sun if we don't colonize other planets. You know what? It's going to be a long time before the sun expands to the point that it encompasses the Earth or affects the Earth. Why even have that conversation? There's other things, at play here, as we know. And Elon is such a big technological proponent. He really wants you to consider marrying yourself to AI. Why not merge now? Resistance is futile.
Exactly, yeah. And don't bother. You're going to be, encouraged to at some point. Just get it over with.
Absolutely. And so we have this going on. Russia's apparently effectively expelling U.S. Embassy chef and contractors and diplomats. Now, this, many have noted, is usually the last thing that happens before there is a conflict. We see British C-17 transport aircraft currently ferrying anti-armor weaponry to Ukraine. in face of increasing rhetoric, and it says Russian rhetoric, but it should really be on both sides because it's pretty obvious. Russian forces arriving in Belarus should have implications for folks' perception of the size and scope of the operation. First time ever, Eastern Military District forces in Belarus. If you think it's not a bluff, great. If you think it's not going to be large scale, I suggest a rethink. And so this is the director of Russian studies at CNA. And, that's his opinion. And we do have a lot of people making note of military activity that is going on both sides. And this is from Minsk, unconfirmed at this point, but just showing again military hardware en masse making its way. And here we have Russian train loaded with BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicles. And this is in Obninsk on the way to the border area with the Ukraine today. Russian military hardware unloaded from a train earlier today in Gomel. And by the way, British troops sent to Ukraine amid fears of pending Russian invasion, as well as Canadian. Canada deploys special forces to Ukraine. And of course, the U.S. has already been there. And we see the former NATO head, China and Iran, watching the U.S. response closely. Because this wouldn't just involve, obviously, just Russia. If you're talking Russia, it's going to come with China. And then you're talking just something that should never even be thought of. Mm-hmm. But yet it's been in the plans for a very long time. And we actually got interesting info about, that 1871 year, along with that particular 33rd degree Mason that said there was going to be 3 world wars back in 1871. I don't know if you remember, because I think you were still like semi-under speaking to Cindy here about when she goes into a trance. But basically, again, as we've said, and many of you guys know, there is an ET influence here, extraterrestrial and interdimensional influence going on. And so the same beings that contacted the Third Reich and worked with them to help them develop the Nazi bells, the saucers, and many are very well aware of the incident with saucers over California, the Battle of Los Angeles, and then they buzzed DC. Again, those saucers were actually NAZI apostrophe S's, who have been working with these beings that may look Pleiadian Nordic, but also working with grays and working with some of the it's not, people might call it slimy, but it's not really slimy. It's scaly, kind of. Yeah. Scaly skinned ones. Mm-hmm. No offense out there to any of our reptilian overlords that might be listening in, as we know they do.
Yes, quite often.
But basically, it was all the way back in 1871. They were working with people in the know, working with people in these secret societies. And oh man, by the way, I mean, there's so much to that. I don't know if we've fully ever shared, but do you know the original 007? Right? The original 007 wasn't Bond, James Bond. It was Mr. D.
Yes, Mr. D.
Yes, Mr. D, the court astrologer to the monarchy there. And, of course, we have that whole Enochian magic thing, which really was just, a communications device to talk to these draconian influences. Got to be careful about who we're talking to out there. But when your pineal gland is awakened and your kundalini is awakened, you can read energies. It's just, it is what it is. And But yeah, anyway, so the influence over the elites, it's been ongoing for a very, very, very long time.
You can definitely say that they're in the know, and when they, raise their children, and their upbringing is way different than ours is. Their learning process and everything that they learn is completely different than what we learn.
Absolutely, yeah. So John Dee and Edward Kelly, were contacting some beings that they thought were angelic, but really what you were talking to was really draconian ETs, greys, and the like. And, we see the State Duma deputy, Yevgeny Fedorov, proposed a particularly preventive strike on U.S. NUKE security as one of the impacts on Washington, expressed his opinion on air. The third option, he says, is a warning strike with NUKEs, maybe even without the danger of an attack, but simply strategic missiles at the Nevada test site. This is a training ground where U.S. citizens live. There are no civilians there. And especially if you warn 2 or 3 days in advance, then it's perfectly acceptable action of serious intentions. Wow. Of course, we're not really, we'd never want to see anything like that, especially when we have family right there.
Right.
That's just horrible to see and should never be mentioned. And we see over here migrant crossings. They're exploring using powerful sonic weapons to halt migrants from coming across the English Channel into the UK. So, again, there's all sorts of weaponry that we're going to see rolled out. And what we have gotten is that in so many ways, they're doing this as a gun show, in a way. A gun show, just to show the technologies are out there to all sorts of different beings. It will be a surprise to many to see that our reality is much closer to Star Wars, for instance, than what we've realized, especially if you've been indoctrinated into a religious system that thinks that all life is just here on Earth and there's nothing else out there. Because that's totally erroneous. It's not even close. There is life abundant out there. And the ancients, the indigenous people, they knew this. They were well aware of this. And in many cases, they interacted with beings that are not of this density or of this particular planet.
Absolutely. These are just understandings and learnings that we're not given, because they need us to stay in control. And the best way to do that is through information, controlling all forms of information that come to us in different ways, even through religion, through school, through, the TV. That's something that really hypnotizes people and keeps them kind of not connected.
Exactly. So, again, it amazes me sometimes when people, but then it's the conditioning at the same time. You understand how deep that conditioning is. When people can realize they shouldn't trust the mainstream media, but then they trust the mainstream religious system that dominates the planet, and they don't seem to realize that perhaps the ones that control the media, control the politicians, also control what religious systems are out there. It's pretty simple that, basically if we just simply operate out of love, compassion, service to others, that's really all we have to do to move spiritually. Take time for ourselves, do things that cultivate spiritual growth, live in harmony with nature. These are just simple, basic things that, if we do those things, okay, we're moving in a good direction. That's it. We don't need any dogma.
Right. Yeah, we do very good. We follow our instincts, just like there's so many creatures here on Earth that do very well for themselves, and they just follow their instincts. That's it.
Yes. Again, being in tune and harmony with the earth goes a long way to also letting us know when there's going to be something that needs to be avoided. And we've been purposely cut off from that. And we've had the majority of people have had their pineal glands calcified, so they can't really know. They can only go by whatever their brain is telling them. So then they have to weigh and sift and judge through all this information coming in from other sources, and so often it's not even second, third, fourth hand. It's passed on from generation to generation and being rewritten all the time. So Tonga was just massive, absolutely massive. And so, they've revised things, and one of the first messages we listened to today was our friend David Devine over at DAP 2030, and he was saying, look, see, they revised from 60-something thousand feet to 98,000, which they did. And then we know that this sonic blast, this massive energy wave, circled the globe twice. That was just insane. Now they are talking about comparing it to Pinatubo, which basically dropped the global temperatures a degree. And so, again, David was just reasserting that he feels this is going to be a cooling event, and we would agree. And, when you look at what happened, this was just incredible. I mean, there's just a whole massive chunk of land that just is no longer there.
Yeah, it's really horrible. When I looked at that, they showed me like many beings down on the ground, and there was many, and it was going on for a long time, and that was kind of disturbing.
Yeah, I don't think this is again going to be one of those things where we maybe really never understand the impact and the scope. It's just going to all be kind of guesswork. And let's hope that it doesn't get triggered again. It was hitting me in meditation today. I was thinking about where we have La Palma and how that is. I'm not even sure where that is north. I'm kind of curious now where that lies as far as in the northern. It's just above the equator. And here we have this, which is just below the equator on the southern side. And, kind of hits me that, forces could be wanting to trigger these 2 points to really cool things off quick. Yeah. And, will we see anything else at La Palma? Who knows? I've always felt that when we see the war kick off, there would be some sort of orchestrated natural disaster. And it sure feels like that's being targeted.
Oh, gosh, it sure does. It feels like they're definitely putting things in such an order that's going to benefit their plan, because they already have these things planned out well in advance.
Exactly. Now, so as we keep trying to wake up as many people in this world, because we do need to keep waking people up to change the consensus consciousness, to change the planetary consciousness, there are those that believe in creationism, so they don't think there's any sort of evolution. And again, it's just a lack of understanding how things work. Darwinian evolution? No, not necessarily. Again, Darwin was another 33rd degree Mason. Part of the Insiders Club, part of trying to give us disinformation. But that doesn't mean things don't evolve. If we just look at the basics of what we've learned from Einstein and then Max Planck and Tesla and, gosh, so many other brilliant minds, as well as just simply go back to the Sanatana Dharma, which is the eternal way, the eternal wisdom, the eternal truth. That is basically what so much of the Eastern mindset that we've gotten really in the higher ages, the golden age, the silver age, from these beings that are of a much higher vibration and have truly told us the way the universe works. Again, the universe is mind stuff. It's all about consciousness, and we do affect it. And everything is always changing. Energy can't be created or destroyed. It just is, but it can change forms, and it does constantly. So we see this newly discovered type of strange metal could lead to deep insights. New discovery could help scientists to understand the strange metals, class of unique materials that are related to high-temperature superconductors and share fundamental quantum attributes with black holes. There's all sorts of interesting discoveries coming out all the time.
I know. There's just one after the other after the other. It's almost like something they kind of already knew, I think.
How about 24 is the newest species described in 2021? So they're always finding new species. Had they always just been hidden? They never saw them before? Or did they just sort of develop? Did they sort of mutate?
Yes, yes.
You know, everything is always changing. Just again, look back at the human family tree and you see that there's changes constantly. One branch is broken and it flowers no more. And then there is a new branch that all of a sudden pops out. It's the same thing with all these different species. And, you know, so it goes into, of course, there's many species that are going extinct. And then there's many that are being born anew. And we're discovering it. There's all sorts of things from different types of frogs, ants, snakes. I mean, you name it. Octopus. All these new species. Ooh,
Is that a tapeworm? Ew.
I wonder where he pulled that from.
No.
But a bunk.
He didn't.
He didn't. You know, look at this. This is a beaked whale. So, I mean, there's all new species out there. Things are always evolving. Things are always changing. And Robert Felix wrote a book. It doesn't take long to read it. I think I read it in like 2 sittings. It wasn't really pushing me at all. And it was all about evolutionary leaps when the shields are down at times of magnetic pole reversals. And then, of course, grand solar minimums. It means we're being blasted with more cosmic energy than usual. And we evolve. Everything evolves. Everything changes.
Yes, it does. And it always has been that way. It always evolves.
Yeah, we see it. It affects all different forms of life. And here we see early hominid in China had the biggest known brain of the time. And we are told, well, you know, the difference between Homo sapiens and all those ones that went before it is Homo sapiens have a bigger brain. This is what we were told like a long time ago. Of course, now we know Denisovans, Neanderthals, they had bigger brains than we do. Their bodies were bigger and stronger than us too. And this is showing, you know, that whole idea was wrong, completely wrong. In fact, it might even be in reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we choose to go along with the controller's wishes of what, you know, humanity is to become, just look at the devolution that has happened on this planet in so many ways, and that's going to be a path that some humans on Earth take. Devolution, not evolution, but devolution. And meanwhile, those that don't take that path have a chance at true evolution.
Yep, absolutely. So it's just something that we're starting to figure out using our own intuition, which we've always had. We're just developing a bit more now.
And by the way, a metal plate inserted into a 2,000-year-old Peruvian warrior's skull. Maybe the oldest evidence of surgery. You know what else is really curious? He was one of them. You know, one of them with the big elongated skulls?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
I mean, look at that skull. Yeah. Oh, there's nothing to look at here.
Yeah, they just played with sticks and rocks and, you know, beat things with another rock. That's all.
It was just stylish in Peru 2,000 years ago to squish your head and try to elongate it.
Yeah.
The problem is that the foramen magnum, which is where the spinal cord goes, is not in the same place. It doesn't have the same parietal bones. It doesn't have this, you know, the whole structure. The plate structure is different. So, you know, what they tell us again doesn't jive.
You know, I'd really be curious, what kind of metal is that? I wonder. It's got to be something that's compatible with the human body, of course.
Well, it's pretty interesting to see. And so we have a message that came in through the guides. And this is actually a combination of, it feels like it's Laurel, but it's also the mothers, the ones we call the mothers, which consists, in case you're joining us for the first time, of Mary, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, Lakshmi, and Aset, and also Ananda Mayima,
Mm-hmm.
and White Buffalo Calf Woman. So these are 7 of our closest guides that come through all the time. And so I just wanted to share this because what they wanted to talk about was the fact that evolution is speeding up on the planet. And in reality, this is really a good thing. This message is a very, very positive, good one that I want to share with you guys. And this is, again, when Cindy's in trance channel.
We are well, and we are noticing a new evolutionary experience with the beings on your planet. We are noticing the crown chakras are widening at a faster pace. The evolution is speeding up for those who put the time and effort into their bodies. Also, we can see that guides, angels, are wishing to connect at a much deeper level with those who are open to this connection and communication. There seems to be something speeding up this evolution on some different level of dimensions that you are able to contact. There are changes happening on your planet that are of concern to other entities, and it seems as though your species is able to respond to these earthly changes that are not natural. The human body is speeding up its ability to connect to guides so that those who are needing to make changes in their life will be getting clearer instruction from their angels and guides in a way that they can understand it. It is not always seen, this ability for the human body to respond so quickly to
Hang on one second.
Sorry
guys.
about that. Timeline is changing, and the human body is responding to this change.
I noticed the changes today just doing meditation in the sun. It all of a sudden seemed as if the sun got so many more times intense, and I could feel all the information coming through. Is this source speeding up the process?
it does seem as though source energy is responding to itself, creating a timeline that is more favorable to your species, as long as humans are desiring to speed their ascension and have contact with their personal guides, as long as they are wanting more freedoms. This is the response that Source will have along with the planet. It is very important that people make a strong effort to contact their guides and understand their emotions and learn how to follow the signs and understandings for themselves. This is a important time to gain your center of understanding. When this earth was created, it was created with the intent that all creatures who are above and below the surface have a strong connection with the Mother and with Source, so that as planetary changes occur, the entities can respond in such a way that the species will be most likely to benefit and survive. This is the original blueprint, and it seems as though your human bodies are responding to it faster through the Creator.
Well, this is definitely good news. We know that they are speeding up their efforts when we are speaking about the controllers. It feels to both manifest that third world war, and also with what they've done with the technologies to create the eruptions, as we know that they were using technologies for the eruption on Tonga, and also using technologies to cause that eruption on La Palma.
This has been happening for many cycles. As your pineal glands grow stronger with Source understanding, these patterns will begin to change back to their original form, as long as the collective consciousness has a desire to change their ability to connect with the divine energies. This pattern is currently occurring across your planet as Earth herself is speeding up her own ascension. She is lending these energies to those that are on the surface. As beings learn to listen for her instructions, they will not be in harm's way. Everyone's path is extremely individual and unique to their needs and belief system. Having this understanding that the pineal gland is awakening faster will benefit your species.
We had talked about how in perhaps 5 or 6 years' time, many people would discover that they had abilities that they never knew that they had the potential for. Do you see this perhaps quickening as well?
As the light bodies collect more light going through this photon belt, we do anticipate that these abilities will also quicken. The timelines are changing and shifting due to much of the activity of the controllers. Mother Earth herself is responding in an effort to protect her children. We suggest that people learn to listen to their intuition at a deeper level, that they are in alignment with their divine journey here on this planet. These energies will be beneficial to all on every level. Even the angels and guides will be receiving further instruction, further information on their communication with the humans that are walking on this planet. This is a response that is working its way through all dimensions.
Oh, this is good news and good to hear. Thank you for letting us know what's going on. Is there anything else that you feel is important at this time?
We need humans to continue to help stabilize this planet as weather patterns and energies are on their way to changing. Your ability to sustain life on your planet as beings come together in oneness to help stabilize the mother. This stabilizing is much a much stronger force for humanity to create with the upgrades on their light bodies. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
And there you have the message from the guides. And, it's good news because Source and, Mother Earth herself are accelerating the changes in us, this accelerating the evolutionary path. And the more we speak up and the more we say, hell no, we're not going along with, what is being laid out before us on this planet, we don't accept it, the quicker we could change it.
Right. I mean, there's this response is occurring, which is absolutely amazing because I think this is quite new. And this is because of everybody's outpouring with their heart chakra, throat chakra. The mother can hear this. The mother can feel this, and she's responding in a way that's going to help everyone. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, what mother would not respond to her children? And again, we've been basically in a system that acts like a nasty virus towards the planet and towards everything on the planet. So as we get out of the system, we're going to find that things get very harmonious. Mm-hmm. The system itself is the problem. That's the bottom line.
Right. Absolutely.
And so Do check out these playlists, guys. The healing work through energy work, Qigong, meditation, Reiki. Strongly recommend it. These type of things, this is what's going to help you to evolve. And yes, we do evolve. We do not stay. We're always changing. We're always changing. And then yet, at our core, there is a you, that deep core that is eternal. And in so many ways, it doesn't matter if the body is 7 years old or 70, the spirit's eternal. And do check out the mantras for activating higher consciousness and healing. Everybody that has been doing this and utilizing the mantras, we find that their progress is amazing. And they're amazed at how much things have changed for them, how their perceptive abilities have changed, their intuition has grown, how things just seem to get out of the way now, some.
Right. I mean, like life changes, just for taking the time to listen to the mantra and put energy toward it, because these are energies that can absolutely be life changing. And we want to say thank you so much to all of our Patreons. You guys, we really, truly, truly, and I mean this, we could not do it without you. It's the biggest blessing. Thank you so much for all of your support. And if you'd like to buy the channel a coffee, you can do that on Ko-Fi, where you can give a one-time donation. And then medicinal foods. This is a huge one, because awakening starts within. It starts by what you put into your body and what your body is creating of that. So we highly suggest this, and you can get 20% off your medicinal food order.
20% actually supports the channel. So they've blessed us with this as the good people over at Medicinal Foods. Sky and Ishmael are actually, family members that have been following the channels for years. So, that is a blessing as well. Use the coupon code EEA and get a discount off your order as well. So as always, guys, much love, God bless, and namaste.
Namaste.